One of the most unique and I should say fresh ideas of my Thakur in the fields of both spirituality and philosophy is the approach he takes in addressing the purpose behind the creation. Now, in order to understand this aspect of my Thakur, one needs to understand the idea of free will in all clarity. According to my Thakur, the idea of free will plays the most important and integral part in understanding this purpose behind the creation. This may sound resonating with the idea of Kashmiri Shaivism. You are aware that Kashmiri Shaivism uses the term Prakasha Vimarsha. While almost all the orthodox schools of Indian philosophy accept that the ultimate nature of our consciousness is Prakash, it is Kashmiri Shaivism which states that apart from illuminating others, the Prakash should also firmly be aware of the idea I am or I exist. On first glance, you may get tempted to equate my Thakur's idea of free will with the Prakasha Vimarsha concept of Kashmiri Shaivism, but they are absolutely different both in letter and spirit. I will come to that later. Okay? For the time being, let's stick to discussing what we understand as free will. Look, since time immemorial, the idea of free will has seriously bothered the brightest spiritual and philosophical minds. How free we actually are, one may ask, isn't it? All our models, our ethics, our religions, our do's and our don'ts, our societal norms are based upon the fact that you are free to do what is right, you are free to do what is wrong. Look, all the religious directives they are based on the assumption that we are free to act according to our own will. If we want, I mean to say that if we didn't have any free will and were forced to abide by the will of God or nature, then there's no point giving any religious dictations, isn't it? Because why do we reward the deserving or punish the guilty? Because it has been assumed beforehand that this person has done the right thing when he had plenty of other options and hence he deserves to be rewarded. Similarly, the person who is being punished by law is done so, for we are accepting the fact that he has opted for the wrong path in place of many other better ways which were available to him in plenty. Without this idea of free will, either rewarding or punishing both becomes totally irrelevant. Look, our whole legal and justice system would have collapsed without accepting at its basics the idea of free will. Doesn't it? Now, if you take a deeper and closer look at this idea from prevalent science or religion, you will find that actually free will doesn't exist. It's very interesting because our scientific foundation is based on the idea of causality, the cause and the effect. Behind every effect there must be a cause. Everything you see in this room is just an effect of a prior cause, and that prior cause is similarly an effect of an earlier cause. Understood? The recorders and the mobile phone recorders I see in front of me, you people have placed before me, are only the present effect of numerous earlier causes. Right from the lithium, the cobalt, the silicon, the plastic, the glass, the aluminium alloy, and so many other materials. All of these causes have combined and contributed, and as an effect of which I find before me these recorders and mobile phones. Likewise, whatever there is currently in today's universe has been determined by past causes. So, when causality reigns, there's no scope of free will to play its role. Even the modern neuroscientists are in total agreement with the idea that there can't be any free will. Neuroscientists like Robert Morris Sapolsky has already said that if you take neuroscience seriously, at least, there's no way free will can exist. We are being fooled into thinking that we have free will. This concept we have found also in religions, that it's the God's will which is the only free will in this universe, and we don't have free will, and this is what Gita also says. It's not me who is saying that there's no free will. It's Krishna in the Gita who says that there's no free will. If you look at the Gita, you will find in the 3rd chapter, that is the Karma Yoga chapter. In this chapter, you will find in the 27th slok, Krishna telling Arjuna, Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasha ahankaro vimuratta karta homi iti mannate. This means that the bewildered spirit or the soul, under the influence of nature, think himself or herself to be the doer of activities, which are in actuality carried out by nature. So, here Krishna says that nature is doing everything. Look, this is what Shanko philosophy is all about, isn't it? And so, Krishna, we find here, Krishna declares here that nature is performing every action, and the Bimuratta, or more precisely the fools, are tricked into thinking that they are manipulating their free will and performing their activities. Krishna says here that you are being fooled into believing that you are doing everything. Krishna also points out at the mechanism of why we are being fooled. He uses the words Ahankar Vimuratta, which means that it is due to the Ahankar, our Atta gets deluded by our ego and sees the activities of the mind as the operation of our free will. Now, look, it is here my Thakur has a totally different perspective. My Thakur says, সব কিছুর পরে তোমার নিজের বলে যদি তুমি কিছু দাবি করতে পারো, তাহলে সেটা একমাত্র তোমার ইচ্ছা শক্তি. What does it mean? My Thakur says that at the end of everything, it is only your free will which you can claim solely as your own. Every other thing is borrowed. Only on your free will you have your sole ownership. Now, look, my Thakur perceives the universe as a conscious whole. How does this consciousness communicate with you? My Thakur's answer is through your Vivek. In his birthday speech of 10th November 1989, you will find how my Thakur has elaborated on this aspect of Vivek. So the idea of Vivek can be manifested only when the idea of free will is a fundamental part of the creation. Thakur looks at the creation as a whole, as Prakriti, which is overwhelmingly conscious, and thus it has a free will, and where there's free will, Vivek must also be there. Thakur looks at the individual jivattas as the seeds of this universal creation, and like every seed of a tree, holds all the promise and potential to not only grow but even outgrow the mother tree. Similarly, every jeev or every seed of the universe carries within itself all the capabilities and possibilities to equal the mother universe and even surpass the mother universe when necessary. In order to be one with the mother universe, the jeev then needs to perfectly align its own free will with the free will of the Prakriti or the universe. This can also be described as aligning with the Vivek of the Prakriti or the universe. This Vivek of the Prakriti or the universe can be seen as the most advanced and sophisticated culmination of Prakriti's own free will, and as a seed of that all-encompassing Prakriti, we can harmoniously be equivalent to the mother Prakriti, matching every feature to feature, every step to step, and become one with the Prakriti or the universe. My Thakur loves to describe this consciousness of Prakriti as Visheshur, and this he has implanted or inserted in what we know as Ram Narayan Ram. So whenever you are in contemplation of Thakur or you are chanting Ram Narayan Ram, you are employing your free will in the most effective way possible by trying to align your consciousness with the consciousness of the grand Prakriti or the consciousness of this marvelous creation.